What's up, everybody? My name is Brent Shepard. I am a middle-class board gamer, and I'm here to tell you about 5 different games that you can get for under $20. I know that shopping season is upon us. You're looking for those last-minute stocking stuffers or something to put under the tree. Some of these you can maybe fit in stockings, but some are going to have to go under the tree, even though you can get them for less than $20. So here we go. Let's get right into it. All right, this first one is a trick-taking game called The Crew. Now, if you've ever played something like Spades or Hearts or Rook, you kind of know how trick-taking games go. The trick here is that this is a cooperative game. So you're not really playing against the other people at the table. You and the other people at the table are actually playing against the game. And some missions are going to come out where cards are going to be dealt out to different players, and they're going to have to take certain suits of tricks. And everybody has to work together to make sure that that person takes those tricks. The thing is, you can't talk to each other. And so you have to kind of pull out your trick-taking skill set there where you kind of know what somebody might have in their hand based on what they're playing. Or you want to play certain cards to kind of tell people what you have in your hand without really telling them. And then there is one thing you can do. You can put down a card and you can take a token and put it on the top, the middle, or the bottom to let somebody know, hey, this is my highest card of this suit. This is the only card of this suit. If it's in the middle or if it's on the bottom, this is the lowest card of that suit, of this suit that I have. And so that's pretty much the only communication you can do. And so it's really fun to kind of sit and try to get in each other's head and figure out what they have and pass these missions. There's like 50 different missions, and they start from really super easy all the way up to really hard where you have to take certain things in sequence and all this other things start going on. And so that is The Crew. Be sure and check it out. All right, the second game on the list here is Kingdomino. Now, this one won't fit in a stocking. This is going to have to go under a tree. But this is a great little game where you've got tiles that are two-sided like dominoes, and you're selecting these from the middle. You're kind of drafting them, and then you're putting them in front of you into a 5x5 or a 7x7 grid. At the end of the game, you're going to score points based on how many of those squares match together in an area times however many crowns there are in that same area. And so you're going to be taking these tiles and putting them in front of you and trying to make patterns, and it has to either be in that 5x5 or 7x7 area. It has to make a square at the end, and you might have to just miss out on certain spaces if you haven't really done that well. That's happened to me a few times. And so this is a really great game. Again, really simple rule set. I just told you all of the rules right there. You know how to play the game now. So it's really quick, really easy. But the way that the taking the tiles works is that if you take a better tile this turn, that means that you're going to have to go later on the next turn. Like you're not going to get to go as quickly on the next turn. Somebody's going to get to go ahead of you. And so if you take a tile that's not so good, you're going to get to go earlier the next turn. So that decision where you're putting your guy to take a tile, along with the decision of where you're putting the tiles to kind of build your grid, work together to give you some deep strategy there, again, with some super light rules. So that's Kingdomino, another great game that you can get for under $20. All right, back to a small card game here, and this is Star Realms. Now, this is a deck building game. A deck building game is a game where both players, this is where you play one-on-one against another player, and both players start with the same deck of cards. That you've got a deck of 10 cards that you start with, but there's going to be a market of cards in the middle that you can buy from to put into your deck. So you're actually building your deck as you play. And then as those cards come up, you get to play them, and they'll combo together to give you more power, more money to buy with, or will hurt your opponent more. And the goal of the game is to knock your opponent out of hit points. You both start with a certain number of hit points, and you can adjust that based on how long you want to play. But it's really easy to learn. It comes in a very small package. You can fit this in a backpack. You can fit it in a stocking. but you can fit this in a backpack and carry it around with you. It's really easy to pop out and play, and it's just a really, really fun game that you can just play you versus one other person. My daughter and I have enjoyed this game. And I think that you and anybody that you might be playing with would enjoy it as well. And you can, again, get it for under $20. That's Star Realms. All right, this next one is another one in a bit of a bigger box, and this one became a big hit both in the board game community and it had some crossover into mainstream, and that's Codenames. Now, some of you may think that Codenames is a little bit old hat. Some of you might be new to the hobby. Some of you might not even be in the hobby, and you know what Codenames is. You've played Codenames or some version of it. You always know that a game has gotten super popular whenever you can find a Simpsons version and a Marvel version, but Codenames is still a great game. There is nothing wrong with it to this day. Now, the way that Codenames work is that you'll have a clue giver and then you'll have a spy. And that clue giver is going to look at the cards in front of them, and they're going to try to find some way to connect a few of those cards that are sitting on the table. At least two. Please try to do at least two. Some people just do one, and that's weird. At least two, but you're going to try to do 3 or maybe 4 words and try to connect them together. The fun thing is that I promise you, when you're playing, you'll say 4 railroad, and you'll think, oh, okay, because I saw spike on there, and I saw tracks, and I saw engine, and I saw engineer, but I didn't see reading. And they're going to think back to their childhood days of playing Monopoly and think, oh, reading railroad, and they're going to guess that, and they're wrong. So fun things like that can happen. It is a bit of a head scratcher. This one was called a party game for a while, and I'll be honest with you, I've never played it in a party situation. I've played it with usually about 4 people. Me and my wife and another couple is how we've played it. But it works. It's a really fun game. Again, something you don't have to explain a lot of rules to. Maybe that's why it was considered a party game for a while. You don't have to explain a lot of rules. You just sit down, put it out, say a few sentences of how you play. Hey, you do this, this, and this. It's really just give clues where those cards are. That's about it. And you're off and running. And it's really fun. You can play it several times in a row. Codenames is a fantastic game. Again, you can get it for under $20 right now. All right, the 5th game here is Take 5. Take 5, it's also called Six Nimmt in other countries. I think it's from Germany maybe, but it's a really fun game. Now, if you've spent any time in the board game hobby, or you've enjoyed any games beyond kind of the mainstream, I think one thing that really drew me in, and has maybe drawn you into the gaming hobby, is decisions. You like making decisions. You like making choices. And so you've gotten really, really tired of a game called Uno, because there's no choice. There's no real decisions that you make in Uno. But you've got a whole bunch of non-gaming friends and family that probably absolutely love Uno. Well, Take 5 is the Uno killer. There are almost no rules you need to teach for this one, but you make decisions. Every single turn you make decisions. And that's what I love about it. Super easy to teach. You can play a whole lot of people, just like Uno. Really easy to teach, just like Uno. But there's decisions that get made throughout this game. Now, are they the toughest decisions in the world? No, they're not. Let me tell you how you play here, okay? So there's going to be 4 rows of cards, and everybody's going to have a hand of 10 cards. All right? These cards are numbered from 1 to 104. Everybody's going to pick at the same time a card out of their hand to place in one of those 4 rows. If you put out a card that's lower than any of the last cards in those in the rows, you have to take an entire row. If you put down a card, and whenever everybody puts down their cards at the same time, everybody's going to choose a card, and they're all going to be revealed at the same time. You're going to start putting those cards in order in those rows. If your card, as we're putting those into the rows in numerical order, if your card happens to be the sixth card that gets placed in a row, you have to take the row. Here's what's bad about that. Everybody starts with 66 points. Every time you take cards, cards have little bulls on the top and bottom of them to show how many points those cards are worth. So at the end, after everybody's played their 10 cards out of their hand, that's the end of a round, everybody's going to count up and see how many points they took and going to subtract that from the 66 points they started with. Once somebody hits 0 points in a round or goes negative, the game's over. Whoever has the most points left wins. And so, again, really easy to teach. You lay out those 4 rows. You'd explain it to everybody. Everybody's going to choose a card at the same time, put it face down on the table. We're going to flip it over, and then we're going to set them out in numerical order. Really, really super easy to teach, okay? And it's really fun. Everybody really enjoys this one. So that is 6 Nimped. This is a fantastic game. If you have been trying to get your family to play other games other than Uno, every time you get them together, they're always wanting to play Uno. Break out this game, teach them one time. Everybody's going to be loving it, and you're going to be loving it too. All right? That's 6 Nimped. Get it for under $20. Bonus! It's bonus time! All right, so I wanted to give you guys one more here because this game is actually under $10. This is a small little card game, plays in about 20 to 30 minutes, and this is called No Thanks. This is a reverse bidding game, and what's going to happen is there's going to be a deck of cards in the middle, and you're going to turn over the top card, and then you're going to go around the table. And when it comes to be your turn, if you don't want to take that card, you're going to take one of the chips that you have in your little group of chips, and you're going to put it on the card if you don't want to take that card. Eventually, somebody's going to see the card and the chips on it, and they're going to take the card. Here's why. People might not want the card, and here's why somebody's going to take the card eventually. So the cards are worth points. And in this game, whoever has the lowest score is actually the winner. You don't want points. Points are bad. All right, it's kind of like golf. You don't want high points here, and so, but the chips are actually worth negative points, so they're going to subtract from the points that card is worth. And so, as it goes around, somebody's going to say, "Well, I don't want that card. It's kind of a high card. Let's say it's a 25. I don't want that card." They'll put a chip on it, and there's more chips and more chips and more chips, and then eventually somebody's going to look at it and they're going to say, "Man, there's a lot of chips on that card," If I take that, I'll get all those chips. It'll allow me to put more chips on cards later and not have to take those, but it could also take away points at the end of the game. All right? Also, if you have like a run of cards, so if you have like a 22, 23, 24, and 25, you're not going to count all of those. You're only going to count the lowest one. So that 24 and 25 don't count against you. Only the 23 does. So having those runs of cards also also helps you a lot with the in-game scoring. And so it's just a really fun game. You throw it out there. There's not perfect information for the deck because you always remove a few cards from the deck. So just because the 23s come out and the 25s come out, maybe you've gone all in to try to get those, thinking, well, then the 24 is going to come out, and I don't have to take the 24 and the 20. I don't have to get the points for 24 and 25 because I've got the 23. But it might not come out. It might be in those cards that got taken out. So just, again, a really fun game. Play super quick. Really easy to explain. Another great one that you can play at a family gathering or with a group of friends this holiday season, and that is No Thanks. All right, I hope you really enjoyed that. I'm glad that I finally got this third one done and out there for you. I know whenever I did the under $40, I said there'd be 3 of them. This is the third one. Here it is. I do want to remind you that the links for all of these games are down in the description. You can go down there and click on those, go right to the page where you can purchase those games and have them there, and go ahead and wrap them up, throw them in the stocking, and be ready for Christmas morning to play some fantastic games. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this long, I really appreciate it. Go ahead and throw a like on this and subscribe to it. Share it around for anybody else that might be shopping right now, or send it to somebody and say, hey, here's some great games for under $20. You don't have to spend a lot on me for Christmas this year to give me a really fun game. This one sounded really cool. Please buy it for me. All right? So again, until next time, my name is Brent Shepard. I am a middle class board gamer. We'll see you later.